There's our A, our B, and our C. And you be the judge which one you think looks the best. So the total root mass of A was 61 grams, B is 53 grams, and C is 46 grams. So clearly there is a winner here. But is the cost really worth it? There are some side effects to these products that aren't necessarily grow results. Now let's take a look at how I got to everything here and the results that I've got here today, and you guys can be the judge on what you think about these products. All right, for this solution, we're going to end up using the Hoagland solution for these A, B, and C tests. That'll get us close to the suggested parameters of the solution. The target is on the left and the right side is what we actually end up having. Okay, so I've got 3 pails of reverse osmosis water. Let's go ahead and mix up our nutrient solutions. Each solution is going to get 11 grams of master blend. Each solution will also get 7.2 grams of Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate. So I'm going to give this all a good stir and make sure everything is dissolved. Then the calcium nitrate is going to go in. Okay, so now that everything is dissolved in these pails, we will add the calcium nitrate. That is going to be 17 grams. All right, so before we go any further, let's get the pH of all of these solutions. What I'll do here is I'll give it a little bit of a stir just so that probe can kind of acclimatize to it. And the first solution is 5.74. We have the second one at 5.8 and the last one at 5.88. All right, let's check our EC to make sure that everything is consistent between the 3 pails. And it should be. It's all RO water with the same measurements. So, okay, final reading 2.20 for the first pail. 2.18 for the second pail. And the third pail, 2.19. So because our pH was a little bit underneath 6, and 6 is kind of where I'd like to start just as a baseline for all 3, I'm going to put in 1 milliliter of pH up to all 3 pails, and then we're going to see if that puts our pH to where we want it to be. Then I will remeasure that EC because there is actually nutrient inside of that pH up. 6.02 for our first pail, 6.04 for our second pail, and 6.08 for our last pail. Okay, and we'll take another EC reading after we add the pH up and see where we're at. 2.2 for our first pail. Oh, 2 point changing. 2.21 for playing the dancing game here. 2.22 for our first pail. Says 2.17, well, 2.18. 2.18 for the second pail, and 2.21 for the last pail. So for the record, this will be pail A, the control will be pail B, and this will be pail C. We're going to put the Hygrozyme in here now, and the Pondzyme is going to go in here. So the instructions on the Hygrozyme are telling me to do 2 to 2.5 milliliters per liter of water. So we got 4 gallons roughly converted. 4 times 4 is 16, so 32 ml. And I'm just going to use this little container to measure it up. I'm also going to be putting that directly into the grow pail and then using my pouring to stir it up. That way, if there is anything in here that doesn't dissolve completely, it's still in the solution. I think that's pretty dang close to 32. Now the Pondzyme is going to be a little bit trickier to measure out. There is instructions to use this inside of a pond, and that dose is 2 teaspoons per 200 US gallons every 2 weeks. Now, that's not quite a pond. So I did quite a bit of looking on Reddit, and I did come up with what looks like the best answer that I found, and that's 1 gram per gallon of water. So I'm going to take and measure up 4 grams of the Pondzyme, and that's going to go in the C pail. Oh, and I can see that did a good job of mixing. See if you guys can catch it. control, nothing fancy here. Just pour it in. And our Pondzyme. Correction, our Hygrozyme. And we'll give that a rinse. And last, we're going to plant our daikon tillage radish, just because these things grow fast and they are pretty hungry, so it lets us know pretty quick what's doing what. Now, if I end up with multiple seedlings sprouting, which I'm sure I will, I'll take the best one from every single pail, so there's only one growing plant in every pail. We'll give them some light, and we'll turn on the irrigation for this whole set. Underneath you can see all of them are plugged into a triple plug, so if one goes, they all go. That's the A set, the B set, and the C set. I will check them all individually to make sure that they're working as well. Good thing I checked. Looks like there's one bad dripper. I'm going to quickly swap that thing out. All right, quick swap out, and that is going, and now every single pail is getting a good irrigation flow, so that's good. So there's nothing left to do now but take the data that I collected here today, the EC and the pH, plug it into my spreadsheet so we can keep track of it, and let these plants grow, and we'll check back on them. 5 days later, everything is up, and I'm just going to leave the plants alone at this point in time for the remainder of the grow. So today is the results day of our A, B, and C, Hygrozyme versus Pondzyme. The A pail is on the left, B pail in the middle, and C pail on the right. To determine what the results are, I'm going to first pull them out and kind of see what the rooting quality is, or the root structure is, in the Dutch buckets. Then I'm going to weigh the top portion of the greens, and then finally I'll weigh the root or the fruit portion of each of them. We'll add them all up and we'll kind of see what the results are. So our first plant weighs 116 grams, and just the root portion weighs 15 grams. The total weight is 118 grams, and just the fruit portion weighs 11 grams. And the total weight of that plant, the heaviest one yet, at 123 grams. And just the fruit portion is 14 grams. And the total plant weight, 141 grams. And the fruit portion is 16 grams. And the total weight of this plant, 144 grams, and just the fruit portion is 20 grams. This plant weighs 91 grams, and just the fruit portion, 11 grams. And the weight of this whole plant, 218 grams. That's impressive. And just the fruit portion, 30 grams. We have a new heavyweight here. And weight for that plant, 136 grams. And the fruit portion, 22 grams. And the weight of that plant, 131 grams. And the weight of the fruit is 21 grams. So I punched that all into a spreadsheet and found the average for our Hygrozyme column was 158.3 for plant weight, 132.7 for the control, and 115 for the Pondzyme. The average root weight 20.3, 17.7, and 15.3, which means that our root mass difference, which is our fruiting portion, we gained 15.09% in using the Hygrozyme. Now, based on the cost effectiveness here, the nutrient solution cost me 23 cents for all three of them, and I did need to add $1.28 to put the Hygrozyme in based on what I used out of the container, and it cost me 50 cents to do the Pondzyme based on what that container cost. And the results tell me that every percent of growth decrease, I lost 7 cents for every percent that I could have had over the control for the Pondzyme, and it cost me 19 cents worth of Hygrozyme to gain every percent of growth there. Looks like the finishing EC is 2.22 on the C pail. We have an EC of 2.0, looks like 2.1 on the B pail. And we have an EC of 2.58 on the A pail. We have a pH of 6.57 on the A pail. We have a pH of 6.63 on the B pail. We have a pH of 6.67 on the C pail. So with the EC climbing up in the Hygrozyme pail, I can't help but wonder how much of that isn't root mass or beneficials or stuff that the plant can use that's coming down out of my pail and helping clean my Dutch bucket grow. So for that reason, it might still be a product worthwhile using. If it's strictly for grow results, I don't think the cost is going to offset it. If we're looking at like long-term maintenance, it might be worth running once or twice a year through the grow just to kind of help break down any old root mass or stuff that's kind of set up in there. So that's something that's going to require me just using the product for quite some time. You guys might have an opinion. Other users of Hygrozyme can definitely chime in if you have your own opinion. Please do so.